Hey guys, I'm Sean P from Silicon Theory, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I've been using it as my daily driver for about 3 weeks now, so I wanted to share my review with you. I have a long history of owning Samsung flagships. I've owned the Note 2, the Note 3. I took a brief U-turn when I had the Nexus 6, which was not a good experience. Transitioned to the Note 5, had the Note 7 last year, the S8 Plus earlier this year, and now the Note 8. Everyone knows the Note 7 did not go well. It tried to burn people's houses down. So Samsung had a lot riding with the Note 8. Let's see how they did. The Note line has always been famous for kind of having top-of-the-line specs, and the Note 8 is no exception. It's powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 with an Adreno 540 GPU. It comes with a 6.3-inch, 18.5 by 9 aspect ratio Super AMOLED display, 2960 by 1440. It comes with 64 gigabytes of memory with SD card support. It also has 6 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, which is an increase of 2 gigabytes versus the S8 from earlier in the year. It is IP68 dust and water resistant. It has a 3300 milliamp hour battery, and last year's Note 7 had a 3500 milliamp hour battery, but we all know how that ended up. Samsung played it safe. It really didn't impact battery life much. We'll talk about that later. Also, I shouldn't have to mention it, but it does indeed have a headphone jack. I don't know why OEMs keep removing that. Samsung might remove it next year, but for now, we still have it. And it also has wireless charging. So really, when it comes to specs, it has almost everything. Let's not forget, it also has the S Pen, dating back to the very first Note, which is what differentiates it from other devices on the market, and this is the best S Pen yet. From a design standpoint, the Note 8 very much resembles Samsung flagships of the last few years. You have a glass front, glass back, with an aluminum mid-frame. Over the last few generations, they've been making refinements to the design, however, the black frame all the way around, for instance, and it's really handsome, symmetrical on both sides, looks really nice. On the front, we have a 6.3-inch Infinity display. This was introduced on the Galaxy S8 line earlier this year. So this is an 18.5 by 9 aspect ratio screen. As you can see, it's a lot taller than a normal screen, but narrower. This allowed Samsung to build flagships with much larger screens, but still make them manageable in the hand because it's not very wide. It is tall, however, and a lot of people may have difficulty reaching the top of the screen when they're using it one-handed. On the back, it looks very much again like the S8 Plus. It just has more squared off corners and dual cameras in place of the single camera. Also, we still have the fingerprint scanner up by the camera, which is a dreadful location just as it was earlier in the year. But in a case, and after a little use, you get used to it and it's not so bad. So let's talk battery life. Last year, as we know, Samsung crammed a 3500 milliamp hour battery into the Note 7, and 2 recalls later, we wondered if the brand was destroyed forever. So this year, they put a smaller battery in. It's 3300 milliamp hours, which is also smaller than the 3500 milliamp hour battery that was in the S8 Plus earlier in the year. This led many people to believe that this would have lower battery life than the S8 Plus, but I'm here to tell you in day-to-day use for me, it's about the same. My battery usage is a little bit atypical. At work, I stream music or podcasts for about 5 hours a day. I typically have about 2 hours of on-screen time, and I talk on the phone about an hour a day. Yes, people do still talk on the phone, and the battery life has been excellent. When I plug in at night with that usage, I'm typically between 40 and 50%. More than enough for me, probably enough to go 2 days if I really wanted to squeeze it. So, performance. Not one of Samsung's strong suits. Going back generations now, their Android Skin TouchWiz has been known as one of the heaviest on the market, and it bogs down performance. It's known for dropped frames, apps hanging, all kinds of different problems. I'm here to tell you though, the Note 8 is much improved versus previous Samsung flagships, even the S8 Plus that I used earlier in the year. It launched on Android 7.1.1 with Samsung Experience 8.5, and in day-to-day operation, it's quick. When you go to Google Now, back home, pull up your calendar, pull up the app drawer, multitasking. It goes in and out, well, unless you're on airplane mode, very quick from application to application, with almost no hang up at all. Now, when you're using it, are you still going to see the occasional hang up? Do apps hang sometimes? Does it slow down? Does it drop frames? The answer is yes, it does occasionally. It's not pixel fast, and it's not pixel smooth. But in day-to-day use, what it is plenty fast and plenty smooth, and I think you'll be happy with the performance. I know I am. Alright guys, let's talk camera. Samsung has always been amongst the leaders in smartphone cameras. They're usually right up there in that top tier with Apple and Google now as probably the best overall camera on the market. The Note 8 is no exception. And as an extra trick, it's the first Samsung flagship with dual cameras around back. So let's talk about the app. The app is fast to load and full featured. You can open it up and take pictures quickly. It has a variety of different modes, stickers, it has Bixby Vision, live focus, anything you can think of. You can also launch it quickly by double tapping the home button, and again, you're very quickly able to take pictures. It's impressive from a speed standpoint. Now, as far as the cameras themselves, the normal camera is very similar to the camera in the S8 Plus we saw earlier in the year. It's a 12 megapixel 1.7 aperture camera. It takes great pictures in good light, takes great pictures in low light, it takes great pictures. The pictures can be a little bit saturated for some people's taste, especially compared to maybe the iPhones of the world, but I actually like the way they look. I think they look good. Samsung made a big deal about the second camera. It is a telephoto lens with a 2.4 aperture, and in practice, it's fine. I haven't found a ton of use for this. The primary camera is better quality, and I don't usually feel the need to zoom in, but if you do, it takes fine pictures, and it can do some cool bokeh effect, which, if that's your thing, is great to have. Now let's look at some samples. As you can see, the Note 8 takes great pictures across a variety of lighting, low light, great light, it takes great pictures. If you have this as your primary phone, you can be rest assured when you pull it out to take pictures, you're going to get a good result. Well done, Samsung. Alright guys, let's talk value. Let's get down to the brass tacks. Should you buy this phone? The answer is, it's complicated. For the last couple years, you've heard me complain about Samsung flagship prices. Last year, when they announced the Note 7, I said, there's no way in hell I'm paying $850 for a Note 7, and then ended up buying one later anyway. When the S8 Plus came out, I said there's no way I'm paying $850 for an S8 Plus, and then bought one anyway. And when this came out and they announced it at $930, I said, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm paying for that, and as you can see, I bought one anyway. So you're probably wondering what the hell happened. Well, since I had a Note 7, Samsung gave me a $425 trade-in on an old LG G4 I had in a drawer, so the deal became pretty enticing. They also gave me a free 128GB SD card and a great wireless charger. Pretty good deal. That doesn't mean much for you though. Should you spend $930 plus on this phone? If you value having the best of almost everything, the answer is yes. The Note 8 does it all. Beautiful screen, great cameras, great battery life, everything you would want out of a flagship phone, this phone does. By that same token though, there are other phones in the market that cost less that might do what you want, and they're worth looking into. Money no object, this is the phone to get, but for most of you, money probably is an object and it becomes a little more difficult. Guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching my first ever video review. If you like what you've seen, give us a thumbs up below or subscribe using the button up top. And as always, you can check out all of our content at silicontheory.com. Thanks for watching.